What's up, everyone? It's Mike Thornton from ChasingTheMeso.com, your number one source for storm chasing blogs. Today we are talking about how weather changed my life. This is going to be an absolutely fun podcast, the first ever podcast for Under the Meso. First off, I want to thank Shane Adams of the Jetstream of Consciousness podcast and Holly, Angel, and Peter for suggesting that I do these podcasts. I've always wanted to do them, but I wasn't sure if I was ready for them yet. So anyway, thank you guys for basically telling me that, hey, you should do this, and I'll try it out and see if there's any interest in it. So guys, since this is my first podcast, I thought it would be very important to talk about what got me into chasing, what got me interested in severe weather. The thing that got me into severe weather, guys, was the Stoughton F3 tornado, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I love talking about this event. I've actually done a documentary on this event that got over 6,000 views, I believe, between Facebook and YouTube, so I am very proud of that. And there actually was a book just last year released about somebody's experience with the Stoughton tornado, so you will see that review on that book later in the year on my website. So let's get right into it, guys. Before we can begin talking about how weather has changed my life, I thought that it would be best to talk about where I am from first. I am from a very small town in Wisconsin called Meso. This town has 1,000 people in it. Up until the age of 8, I lived in this beautiful village. In August of 2005, my father passed away at the age of 38. My family then moved to this town called Stoughton that same month. On August 18th, 2005, my life would change forever. I still remember the morning of August 18th, 2005. It felt like a typical severe weather day, very hot and muggy. There was not a cloud in the sky, which helped the atmosphere become unstable. The Storm Prediction Center had put a slight risk out for all of southern Wisconsin, stating that large hail, damaging winds, and isolated tornadoes would all be possible across southern Wisconsin. At 2:50 p.m., the Storm Prediction Center would issue a tornado watch from western Wisconsin all the way into eastern and central Wisconsin, stating that vertical shear profiles will promote supercell potential near the warm front with the risk of isolated tornadoes. Damaging winds are likely to be the main threat further south. The time is now 6:20 p.m. I am at my grandma's, and I had just realized that we were under a tornado watch. At the time, I was always petrified of severe weather. So when I saw that we were under a tornado watch, I began to become scared, as one would do when you're very young. Around that same time, the tornado had been on the ground for 5 minutes already, having formed just west of Stoughton near the town of Oregon. NBC 15, a local news station in Madison, Wisconsin, had just begun covering the storm. 10 minutes later, the power would go out. My mother and I would head to the basement in my grandma's house. I thought that for sure I was going to be killed by a tornado. This tornado would stay on the ground for almost an entire hour. Thankfully, it missed the town of Stoughton by less than a mile. However, the F3 tornado would destroy a small subdivision called Greenbrier Estates, just 1 mile north of Stoughton. This resulted in 1 death, 24 injuries, and $42 million in damage. 27 tornadoes touched down on August 18, 2005, making it the biggest tornado outbreak to have ever occurred in Wisconsin. The people of Greenbrier Estates and Stoughton had very little time to get to shelter because of the lack of news coverage on this storm. The 1 death was a result of the person who passed away not being informed soon enough about the tornado, as bricks above him would come crashing down onto him as he was trying to get to the basement. This day caused me to become extremely fearful of severe weather. 5 years later, on July 22nd, 2010, Stoughton would be under the gun yet again. However, this time I was prepared. I was alerted by the National Weather Service in Milwaukee, Sullivan, about 15 minutes before the storm reached Stoughton, as NWS had put out a tornado warning on the storm because of what a spotter had seen. Thankfully, a tornado wouldn't form until it was to the east of Stoughton, near the town of Albion. This tornado would be rated an EF-1. After July 22, 2010, I began to research this thing called storm spotting. In April 2012, I would get my driver's license and become a storm spotter, all while still in high school. The first time I ever went storm spotting, instantly what was a fear became something that I loved. From that point on, I began to research more and more on why severe weather happens and how it works. In 2013, I would submit my first ever storm report to the National Weather Service in Milwaukee because of storm damage that had occurred from straight line winds. On June 22nd, 2015, I would go on my first storm chase ever. That first chase was actually doomed from the beginning, as I only had a cell phone to record video, take photos, and to use for radar, all while a squall line was approaching my county at around 60 miles per hour. It's safe to say that I was not at all prepared for this chase. I chased the squall line from Stoughton all the way into Janesville, Wisconsin. 2016 would be the first year that I ever chased on the Great Plains. On May 17th, 2016, I packed up my laptop and some clothes and headed south towards Oklahoma. I was mainly going to Oklahoma to look at apartments, but on May 21st, 2016, I would chase in the Texas Panhandle. I would begin my chase in Carrick, Texas, and intercept a hail core near Hartley, Texas that had 2-inch in diameter hail. I was so excited when I intercepted this hail core because in Wisconsin, I had never seen hail that big. So for the next 3 days, I chased in the Texas Panhandle, and it was some of the most awesome days of my life. In June of that same year, I would officially move to Oklahoma. My first ever chase in Oklahoma would be the day before Independence Day, July 3rd, 2016. That day, I would see my first real wall cloud on a storm that had become tornadic near Kearney. I would get many awesome lightning photos and storm videos that year, that I, to this day, am very proud of. In 2017, I would chase severe weather every month, literally every month from February up until October. On May 16, 2017, I would chase a rain-wrapped tornado into the town of Elk City, Oklahoma. This would be my first time I had ever experienced what it was like to chase a tornado that would kill an innocent person. To this day, I still think about that one person who died as a result of that tornado because that person left his mobile home for better shelter, but then for some reason returned to that mobile home. And that was the last time his neighbors ever saw him. To this day, that still bothers me a lot because it makes me wonder, why did he go back to his house? And he would have been alive most likely had he not. That same year, on June 21st, 2017, I would be a main speaker at a severe weather safety camp in Wisconsin. Something to this day that I hold very close to me. Because now every year since then, I go to Wisconsin and give severe weather safety talks. And it means a lot to me because I am giving back and hopefully I am making a difference for the younger generation. In 2018, I would attend my first ever ChaserCon in Denver, Colorado. I would chase every month starting in May until October. Once again, on June 22nd, 2018, I would be invited to a severe weather safety camp to talk about severe weather safety. August 14th, 2018 was a marginal risk day in Oklahoma, but it ended up being one of my favorite chases of 2018. Storms initiated to the southwest of Oklahoma City, and I tracked these storms into Mustang, which is just to the southwest of Oklahoma City. This storm would begin to show signs of possibly becoming tornadic as it moved closer to Oklahoma City. Thankfully, though, this storm was cut off by another severe cell to the northwest, which killed any potential of it becoming tornadic as it came closer to Oklahoma City. And guys, on August 31st, 2018, chasing the Meso would be born. In 2019, I would mainly only chase storms in May, June, and August, as well as September, as the severe weather season wasn't as interesting as the prior years, at least for me. And that is where we come to 2020, guys, where I have chased amazing storms already this year. I have got amazing structure footage and some awesome lightning stuff, and it's just been an amazing year so far. We are 100% focused on getting a tornado this year, more than ever. If it wasn't for this thing called severe weather, I would not be in the position that I am today. I would not be an emergency management student. I would not be interested in severe weather. I would not be in Oklahoma. I would definitely not be chasing storms. And if it wasn't for August 18th, 2005, I would not be in the position that I am right now with severe weather safety. I am looked up to when it comes to severe weather safety. I give severe weather safety speeches, and to me that means a lot because I hope that I am making a difference in somebody's life. Guys, we can mitigate the loss of life if we plan and practice these things that we call severe weather safety. So anyhow, guys, that is it for this podcast or videocast, whatever you want to call it. I hope this was at least somewhat interesting. I'm sorry if I sounded boring. Depending on how well this video does will depend on if I make podcasts in the future. So again, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you under the Meso. Peace out.